Record. Us,
Whoosh.
everyone. I told you I was going to do it. We're back, Forever the Student. I'm motivated this year to I don't know how many we're going to do, but I had my tap on the shoulder again last week, and I was talking to Shihan Sean about it, and I knew I had to start getting some people on board and have a chat. And one guest that I've really admired and really call a friend and has helped me a fair bit of late. I wanted to get Shihan Wayne. Shihan Wayne, how are you? Welcome to the Kyokushin Shuffle and Forever the Student. You're the first guest for 2024. How are you?
Whoosh, Sensei Pat. Look, I'm really thrilled and honoured to be
Pleasure.
part of the uh, the presentation today. And
Yeah.
look, it's we've known each other for a little while now, and we'll always have a bit of a laugh and share some stories. So
Indeed.
hopefully we can flesh out a few today.
Yeah, I mean, for everyone that hasn't seen the previous Forever the Student, it was during that time of COVID, and it kept me sane, and it, I guess, helps a lot of other people to listen. And we've grown the podcast channel to 1,000 now, and a bit of me was like, hey, let's get cranking a bit more. There's so much I could do. I have so many visionary things like yourself with things in promoting Kyokushin and martial arts and combat and so on. And like I said to you, and for others, it's as if we're at a pub having a beer, chilling out the Aussie way, and just catching up or having a yarn about how we can make the world better again, and doing it. And you're certainly one of those lads, and I admire that. And in segue of that, a couple of years ago, I thought of the 50 rounds and try to break it up into certain regions of Victoria. And I did one in Melbourne at my dojo. I connected with Shihan Lance from Bendigo, and I connected with you down here in the /Surf Coast, Geelong region. And we had a good chat, and you were awesome in, selecting the venue, which was just absolutely beautiful. And what a day that was.
It was awesome. And I think that session that we had down at Bankura, your third one for the year, it really put a little bit of icing on the top for the people who had done the previous sessions earlier in the year and mid-year, and they could see that really culminated. It was a special venue, and congratulations to you for these are sessions that you put on free of charge. There's no cost, and we always seem to be dipping our hand in our pocket all the time for various things. So I really appreciate the efforts that you've made in that way.
Yeah, well, that's thanks to, again, how I'm trying to unite all of us, meaning, the different groups we're in. But, I'm blessed that a lot of the seniors that are, to me, like yourself, we're very close with my master, Shihan Billy. And then that enabled me to, I guess, blossom his relationship that he had built for so long under Hunchy Eddie. And then, and this is the cool bit about you that I'd like more people to understand, your journey, your chapter in how you came about with Kyokushin, and more so in this region. And I point in regards to the Geelong and your region. So, give us your I guess lineage as such, and then but also what group you're running and who you're under as well.
Sure. Look, I was just a snotty-nosed 13-year-old kid walking down the streets in Corio one day, and walked past a hall in Hendy Street. Now, a lot of maybe the listeners out there would have heard of Hendy Street Dojo. Arguably, at a point of time, it was the longest-running dojo in the one location.
Right.
So it has a lot of history.
Yeah, cool.
Anyway, I was just walking past here one day and heard a bit of yelling and screaming and carrying on. I thought, oh, hang on, what's going on in here? Decided to walk up to the door, and I liked what I saw.
Okay.
I went home, said to my folks, I'd like to do this thing that they're doing up at the hall. I wasn't too sure that it was karate, judo, or whatever. I didn't know. So as it turned out, it was a dojo there being run by Sensei Brian Ellison.
Wow.
And so I started there with Brian Ellison. His main student at that point was a person by the name of Les Pickersgill.
Right.
Now, Les went on to have a very good career as a tournament fighter. It was just awesome. He was just, he was a top class student. So, but I was only just a kid, so it was reasonably protected in my time there.
Now let's say if you're 13, so are we talking like early 80s here?
Oh, thanks. You're too kind, mate. You're too kind. You're too
Respect, bro.
kind. Bring it down another decade. So I did it for a few years.
Yeah.
I did Kyokushin for a few years.
Good one.
Certainly some of the memories there. Well, one particular memory
Yeah.
that sticks out was Brian Ellison would always do the beach training down at Bankura.
Right on.
And it's
No
sort
way.
of segue later on to our discussion around why we do it now. But
Yeah.
he would say to me, "Do you want to come beach training?" And I said, "Oh, absolutely." And he'd say, "Right, will you be down at the Detroit Crescent shops by 8:30 in the morning?" He said, "I'm not coming to your place." Now, I lived about 100 meters from the Detroit Crescent shops, so
Cool.
he just knew that was his method of making sure I was serious.
Yeah.
And we would do beach training, winter, summer, anytime. And
now, to not cut Shihan Wayne there, coincidentally, the Bankura Beach, for those that are following me on social media, that is my backyard. Currently, It's 5 minutes from home, and I go there 5 to 7 days every morning for a quick dip. And it's just given me another spark of the history. And I know you've mentioned it. Someone mentioned it to me before, but it had slipped my mind. So for those that see my images who are giving me a bit of crap of late because I'm getting the sunrise pictures, I'm sharing it. And coincidentally, Shihan, no word of a lie, it was more to share the positive energy of what the day brings to start off. Yeah. So sorry to cut you off there, but I had to, share that with you.
And look, those beach training sessions, apart from all the work that we did in the dojo, also those beach training sessions were just awesome, because that was really part of the catalyst in getting out of the dojo and understanding that there were people who were like-minded outside of the dojo, and none more so. One particular time, there was a training session set up for Bankura Beach. Tino Severano and some other high-ranking martial arts. There were people lined up, shoulder to shoulder down the beach as far as you could see.
Oh, wow.
And it was just an awesome, awesome day. And so those sorts of memories were really etched in my mind. But, as time goes by, Sensei Pat, things change. I got to a point where I started playing football. I started playing cricket. I joined a band. I started chasing girls. All of those sorts of things. And over the years, whether I was good or bad at those things, I'm not too sure. But I realised that probably in a few of those areas, I wasn't much chopped. So it was through one of my own sons who said he would like to do training, Kyokushin. So I just took him up to the Hendy Street Hall, where by that stage, my very, very good friend, and he was a work colleague of mine, Sensei Luke Gurovic, was the main instructor there. So Luke, was a very, very close family friend of mine. He was the godfather to my son Todd.
Oh, wow.
And so we got involved there, and as all good parents do, Sensei Pat, you would know this, we sit at the back. I had a bit of a privilege. I don't sit at
the back, sorry.
Well, I had a privileged situation there, having some previous knowledge of Kyokushin.
Of course.
I could count to 10 and those sorts of things. So I sat at the back there for probably 2 years.
Oh my goodness!
Thinking, oh, well, will I? I've got a decent old veranda over the tool shed by this stage. What am I going to do? And Luke Sensei really encouraged me to get back into it, and I'm so forever grateful.
Yeah, of course.
Unfortunately, Sensei Luke is no longer with us, but I know he'd be looking down, and he'd be pretty proud, I hope, that the journey that we've taken. So Karaya Dojo is in my blood. That's my home dojo forever and ever. And I know Shihan Scotty McQuaid, he does an awesome job, and I've got some very close friends who are either instructors or students there. So that's very close. Unfortunately, the building itself was demolished to make way for other things. And they moved just up the road a little bit to a community hall.
That's cool.
So from there, basically, I think it was around about 1996, I think I got my show done.
All right.
And under now Hunchy Eddie Emin.
Wow.
which was an awesome experience, and a lot of memories of going up to Tennyson Street in Elwood to train in the squash courts there, and lots of stories that we'll leave for our next camp.
Yeah.
But from there, 1997, I decided to go out and start a dojo. So that was the catalyst for me starting Hamlin Heights Dojo. That was the first of my dojos from that point. Yep.
And so currently, the group that you guys are in, to give everyone perspective of, again, how the world works, and after, I guess, everyone being under Hanshi in one way, then it started to progress, and it just gives everyone perspective of where people headed and why.
Yeah, absolutely. And unfortunately, there was a lot of splintering, a lot of movement, left, right, and everywhere, different ways. And look, we were part of that as well. We formed our own little group in Geelong called the Geelong Kyokushin Karate Organisation, GKKO. And at one point there, we aligned ourselves with Shangari Vickers and his GKKA. And then as time goes on, you start to develop. My own personal dojo group went from one dojo to, at one high point, I think I had about 9 dojos.
Oh my goodness!
On the run, plus an outreach in Fitzroy Crossing in WA. So, I had we were developing just as much as some of the other GKKO dojos were developing, and we saw a need then to look at how can we manage ourselves possibly, and do other things and so forth. So we skipped over a little bit of time, and eventually we became introduced to Soshi Hasegawa. And we joined the Kyokushin Union. And that's been for us quite good, because we're self-managing, and for people out there, I deal directly with Japan, and others here, Sensei Bobby Holland and Sensei Luke Argento, they deal separately from me, but they deal directly with Japan under the union. Same with Shan Ritchie Saunders and his group. So, but we are like-minded, and we cooperate. We run events together, but nobody rules. There's no branch chief system set up, and we just cooperate. We run things and we do things, and rely on each other from support.
Yeah, I appreciate you sharing that. Again, even in the years we've known each other and so forth, again, for listeners out there, when a guest like Shihan Wayne, who's got so much, I guess, history, but more so in the region of out of Melbourne. And what I mean by that is it's about 80 kilometers out of Melbourne. It's a good hour or so drive for many of us. And I moved down to this region 3 years ago, and for more so family purposes, and we had to change and pick up everything. But I was, I guess, welcomed into an extent of, the friendships that we had out this way. And, the Kyokushin history out this way is just unbelievable. And it's again, a reason in getting you on to kick it off, because I wanted others to kind of understand the spread of what Hanshi, I guess, Eddie had done in everyone going to Melbourne. And now there's a lot of us coming back out this way. And out this way, meaning, you have to go into a bit of a time zone of understanding. And I'm still learning. And that's my point. I still learn from hearing stories from you, even though you've probably told me many others in the past at camps and so on. And again, to reflect, we only catch up 3 to 4 times a year because of whatever event we attend. And within that time frame, we're training, we're working out, we've got 10 minutes, you run a beautiful barbecue, and then we got, kids, family, you, this, and everyone moves on. So this is cool to get a grasp of, again, your journey. So one thing with someone like yourself, you got your Shodan in 96, you've got these 9 dojos, you've obviously, you're a community man in respect of, giving back to others. I love that. And then how is it just gone to fifth dan? You know what I mean? Has it just flown for you, as it's gone, I'm fortunate. I'm going to be able to go on grade soon in Japan, and you reflect a little bit and go, what the hell? You know, for me, it's 25 years next year. For you, how many years have you been this year, next year?
Oh, look, total probably 35 plus.
Okay. Yeah.
But I think, Sensei Pat, you know, I often think about this. You know, I remember when Sensei Luke reintroduced me back to karate.
Yeah.
At that point, I was, I think, a green belt maybe,
Sure.
when I got back into it. And Luke said to me, look, I want you to come and train. I said, oh, look, I will, but I've got no interest in, you know, grading, or got no interest in tournaments. I was, you know, 36 or something like that by that stage. And you know, as far as going for a black belt, that's crazy. And Luke was really good, because he just said, no, that's fine. That's
Sure.
fine. It's no drama. And then as you train, and this is the infectious part of Kyokushin, from our perspective, Kyokushin, is it becomes infectious, and at different times in your life, you're doing it for different reasons.
Yes.
So at that period of my life, you know, I had a young family, supportive wife, in the main, although bringing home dirty geese and wrecking washing machines like they were going out of fashion was crazy. But that was one of the things where you then start, oh, gee, there's a grading opportunity. Maybe, why not? And then you grade and grade and grade. And then when I became a black belt, I was sobbing, because I couldn't believe that all of a sudden I was a black belt. And then subsequent gradings, the same sort of thing. And I remember in my third Dan grading, which I did under now Hunchy Gary Vickers, I could barely lift my head at the end of the grading, not from exhaustion. Well, I was exhausted, but not so much from that, but more from emotion, because I thought, what the hell have I done here? I am now the same grade as Luke was.
How good's that? Yeah.
You know, and then, you know, I went to Japan and graded for fourth Dan, and then I had no intention. I thought, oh, that's probably where I'll park myself. I was really thrilled to be at that level. And then a camp came up at with the union at Yamagata in Japan in 2018. And I thought, I'm going to go. I'm going to go to the camp. And then you start to think about, well, maybe. So I spent about 18 months or so just preparing, and I thought, why not? And you know, I did it, and then I still smack myself to think that, you know, there are other Shihans out there who I just hold in absolute utmost regard. And I think, man, oh man, you know, what I know about martial arts, I could scratch on a pinhead with a 6-inch nail, and compared to some of these people. And you know, I always think that, as you say, forever a student.
Oh, indeed. That's awesome. That is a nice little summary in explaining your emotion behind it all, you know. And again, how time flies, we all say, you know, and again, respectfully, you know, like you said, with the other peers and masters, and we call them masters because that is the language in regards to the Japanese respect and etiquette of a Shihan. And above is teacher's teacher, right? The sensei is the teacher, and the fifth, sixth, and seventh is no doubt they've got a teacher underneath them that they've groomed. And I mean, you know, that's an integral part of the journey that I see are on as well now. The journey of, well, you know, when we would chat about, you know, how we unite, and that's a strong word, especially in the Kyokushin language, but it needs to continue to happen. And that side of it is where, you know, we are fortunate that, you know, we have you have a relationship with me as I'm a lot younger, meaning, you know, I'm coming through. But a lot of the masters, I'm thankful for, like you, that take the time, take the effort, listen as such towards, you know, me giving you a call a couple of years ago about what I'm thinking, and then, you know, taking it on. And I appreciate that, because you have another a key event, which you were just gesturing before about the beach training, which I'm trying to push more again in the summertime here, and getting you on. And give us a walkthrough. Well, you kind of gave us a hint as to the history of what that beach training's about, but everyone out there, more so in Victoria, but those around the world that listen, you know, Shihan Wayne runs with his other peers a beach training in a couple of weeks' time, Feb 18 on a Sunday for a couple of hours, and it's in that traditional Aussie way, you know, down the beach, nice and relaxed, good quality session, you know, an hour and a half or so, and then a good catch up afterwards, no matter where you're from.
Yeah, absolutely, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak about that, Sensei Pat, because I've been running that beach training session basically for probably 5, 6 or so years, and it comes on the back of a lot of other beach sessions that we did with when we were parts of other groups and so forth. Bankura per se, although we run these beach sessions at Torquay, but Bankura was always our go-to. We used to run camps down there, weekend camps and so forth, and we'd have Japanese guests come out. The Torquay beach sessions, as you say, are a lot more relaxed. But having said that, we're really fortunate. We get a lot of visitors or visiting instructors that come down from Melbourne. They come down from Bendigo. They come down from the Alpine area. We've got some friends who are in Kyokushin, and they've been really, really supportive over the years. So it's a great opportunity, not so much all the time for the higher grades, but maybe the up and coming down grades. Hey, listen, take 15 minutes of this little group. You know, you've got so they're getting a little bit of a test of their own instructor skills. 10, 15 minutes showing their stuff and developing with students that they probably have never seen, may never ever see again. But probably the key to it is the bits and pieces. Students really, really look forward to the push-ups, graduating into the water, sit-ups in the water, and then ultimately all the kumite in the water. So, excuse me. So, you know, there's lots of elements to beach training, you know, that some students probably don't really appreciate what you're actually doing in terms of balance, movement in the sand, and you know, there's lots of things there that you can really work on. Just because you're on a different setting, a different floor. Imagine, you know, some of the, you know, lifting your legs and trying to do moshigiri with a soaking wet gi. If you're not really thinking ahead and saying, hey, listen, I want to do the best moshigiri here, and lifting that leg up while it's really virtually weighted down, or are you just sort of fluffing around? So, you know, the challenge is there for yourself at those sorts of sessions.
And I think what the beauty of it is, again, in doing these types of chats, is giving everyone out there the other side of what Kyokushin offers. There is the dojo, there is the nuts and bolts of what we have to put ourselves through in an etiquette way and follow that martial way of, you know, the dojo kun, the kohai, and the usas and so on. And then there is that element, and the element of outdoors that Sosai always preached. And again, it's keeping the flame alive, I call it, with people like yourself and the others that want to continue to share, because this is the part that I'm trying to put the bow tie on. We're all sharing knowledge now. We're not hiding away from anything. We're all like-minded. We all, you know, love the art. We've all got the same positive energy about it, and we all get to train together, and we all get to push each other a little bit more. And it's out in one of the best oceans / beaches in the world. That's not being biased. It is what it is. It's you know, safe and all the above. And you know, we have to, again, I think, you know, I think the year before, in the last couple of years, you've had nearly 100 guests.
Oh yeah.
100 just floating down from all parts of, you know, Victoria. And for those, again, listening, Victoria is, you know, to get to Torquay from the CBD of Melbourne, it's a good hour and 20, about that. If you're in the Gippsland region, Alpine region, add another 2 hours, you know, hour and a half to 2 hours. So there's Bendigo, another 2 hours. These are, I guess, reasons in regards to those that make the effort, commit to these things. We continue to encourage those that are listening now. It's not a, I'm not trying to say get off your ass, but it's more of the effort and energy that Shihan Wayne is keeping, the flame that he's keeping alive, the friendships of all the other groups, Zen Kyokushin coming down, Shin Kyokushin, Japan Union, AKK, VKKA group, it's epic. It's really, really cool. And again, the selling point, I guess, in one way for me is the energy. It's the cool part of seeing everyone starting the year off with a real cool, hey, how's it all going? We all okay? We all working again? Let's go.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what underpins it all, Sensei Pat, is my philosophy has always been, particularly at the dojo, is when you come to the dojo, leave your shoes and your ego at the door. Come in and train, and look, we don't ask any questions. We have lots of visitors that come into our dojos, and I'm always encouraging people, come down, pay us a visit, bring your gi. Always have your gi packed in the car. Come and train, and just come along and be part of an unbiased friendship where you can just come along and train. We say at the dojo, there's three things you say in the dojo: us, ki, and ouch. So, if you've got an opinion, that might be a discussion point later on, but, come along and train. Don't say, oh, we do it this way, we do it that way. No, just maybe learn to adapt. Learn to adapt, and then and take something away. We would love for people to come along and train just as much as when we come and train at other dojos, come to camps. Zen Kyokushin camp is probably a great example where you've got so many people from all other areas that come along and train, and if you don't take something away from there, or from these sorts of training sessions, and I'm not too sure why you were there in attendance in the first place. So
yeah, that's a good reminder that, again, with our Kyokushin training, again, the nuts and bolts of your dojo is critical. And then when we get to the beach and you get to, again, lightly spar and have a bit of fun, and we get that, like you said, there's three words, there's us, ki, and ouch. We kind of forget a little bit of the fun, but this is what that brings as well. It brings a bit of that. Again, we kind of, we as in, I'm not talking on behalf of everyone, but we kind of forget that part because, again, we have to put in the time that we're there. You like I say to everyone, you're making the time, you're making the effort, get it done, put it in, let's go. And then at the end, everyone's like, what was that all about? What's going on? But, you come from that history of, the hard trainings with your peers. And again, there's a part of me that wants to continue to instill that, that strongest karate theme is crucial to the language that I'm trying to put out. And that's another reason for bringing back Forever the Student. So we can hear the likes of yourself and others that go, hey man, it was hard. And yes, we have to evolve and adapt. We use those words, but how are you, keeping that flame or spirit of keeping that strongest karate as one of the, again, it's not to put you on the spot in regards to, is it your main thing and blast us about it, but it's more, how are you keeping that ingredient? Because it's the fundamental, it's the main pillar of our art.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think part of that is getting out of your own comfort zone, getting out of your own dojo, looking for events and activities to go to. I put a weekly newsletter out to all of my students, and I'm continually adding other Shihans and Senseis and other people who are interested. Interested. I will share whatever knowledge I have, whatever information I have, I will share it freely. I never keep anything close to my own back pocket. But I will look for activities and promote them as much as I possibly can, so we can be with other like-minded karateka, and we can learn from, we can participate. You run your 50 rounds of sparring, whether it's the casual version or the seminars. We want to be involved in that, and it makes us stronger. Shin Kyokushin run a snow training weekend. We go to that every year, and there's other activities that Shihan Judreed runs. Usually runs a camp at Anglesey. My good friend up in Queensland, Shihan Phil Cox and Sensei Katie Cox up there, they run a fantastic camp up there at Talabudja.
Cool.
At the middle of the year, and I say to my students, get there. You're gonna be treated to guest instructors and people and meet people who have maybe done the hard yards, or have been experienced. And that's where you often talk, I think may have spoken Sensei Pat once before about, those a connection with people who have been with other notable karateka in the past. For example, excuse me. For example, I've never ever had the pleasure of ever being in the company of Sensei Oyama.
Sure.
So the best that I can ever do is be in the presence of people who were. We just come off the last weekend. We had a training in the presence of Hunchi Eddie Emin, which I've been to several of those over the past few years. And I say to my students, get there, because many of you don't even know Hunchi.
Sure.
So all you can do is listen to my stories. I've trained with him and been to camps with him and lots of stories and so forth. So come along to a day like that, and then you can rub shoulders with him, get your photo taken, and go, I've met the guy, even though you may not have trained with him. So it's those degrees of separation. So you will only get that if you step outside your own comfort zone. Step outside your own dojo.
On that note, you've sparked me up. How is he? Again, respectfully, I pass it on to my students to go, and unfortunately I can't attend everything. But Hunchi obviously is my master's master and many others. But I'm very, 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 very blessed and fortunate to have a great fun relationship with him, as do many. How is he?
Look, he was it's sort of you only get to see him every X amount of months or even a year in between. And I was not 100% sure what I might be greeted with, because you get a little bit further on in years and you change markedly.
Of course.
He was there waiting before most people got to the training session.
What a legend.
He was in his gi. He was sitting there very proud. When I got there, I went immediately to him, pushed past everybody else. Went straight to him, and he said, and I was blown away. He said, how's all my friends in Geelong?
Oh, wow.
So he remembered.
Oh, cool.
And I was just gobsmacked. I was blown away, and we had a good giggle, and he said that we were the troublemakers, the Geelong guys. When we came up, we were the troublemakers. So again, there's plenty of stories I could relate to you at some point, maybe over a beer.
For those listening, with Hunchi, I mean, when I started this about 3 or 4 years, whenever it was, 3-4 years ago now, and I, liaised with Shihan Billy, and we made a pact that, with all respect to Hunchi Eddie, he's 90, 92, 93 now, depending on what passport you want to read. And we had to respect that man in some way. And having a chat on a podcast, it wasn't going to be as simple technically wise. Secondly, his dementia to that degree can say a couple of things that may go the wrong way for many others, and we just didn't want it to play that way. And then my other what's the word? The other pact that we made was Hunchi John Taylor. Many again, I could have got those two legends, and unfortunately, rest in peace, John Taylor last year. For those that are across obviously what happened there, and I there wasn't, those moments that you're bringing up now make me kind of go, oh man, we got to get, I missed out on Hunchi John, but Hunchi John had a great interview / conversation that I watched, and I think it was respectfully Brian Ellison that interviewed him, and it's on YouTube for those, and it's beautiful. It's perfect. It's a great conversation, and I didn't want it. That was it. I was like, and Hunchi John and I got along well, and I said to him, it wasn't a hey no to being on. I just knew that I had to keep in my place and let those legends, again, have everyone remember them for other means than obviously their age. And I didn't want to challenge them technically and put it out there, but for Hunchy Eddie Emin to give you the little clip as he would and as he should for the Geelong crew to be the pests. You know, that's standard 101 Hunchy there.
Absolutely, and look, I've got absolute you know, fond memories of Hunchy Eddie, and you know, sitting with him at camps or training sessions after we were at, say, Elwood, and just, you know, you could have some really fantastic discussions with him until it was time for him to go off and watch his Western movies. He loves these Western TV movies, and yeah, so, you know, he's just an absolute character. And again, I just say to people, like, you know, if there's further opportunities down the track to be in the presence, he's you know, obviously he doesn't train, but he's there, and you know, you can rub shoulders with him. He was just loving people coming up and sidling beside him for their photos. So
very good.
And his hair was immaculate. He loves presenting his hair. I can't talk nowadays. But,
yeah, see, that's what he gives. That's what he's got on a lot of you, actually.
He's just an absolute character.
Yeah. Hey, Shihan, so I don't mean to put you on the spot here. The memorial training of Sensei Luke, do you attend that as well?
Look, I used to go to that religiously, and then a couple of years ago, I decided to sort of pull back from that, and because it also clashed with my own dojo training. But I decided, apart from that, I could, you know, always get somebody to take my dojo. But I decided to pull back from that for a few reasons, and one particularly just to you know, maybe train as hard as I possibly could, which I try to do every night anyway. But you know, on that particular evening is you know, do that in my own dojo.
Understood.
And again, to reiterate to my members who never ever had the opportunity to be with in and around Sensei Luke, to give them a sense of connection as well. So
I mean it with all respect. Could you, you know, and I hope it doesn't pull too many heartstrings, because I didn't know the connection you had with him within that family means. I'd love to hear more about him. I respectfully don't know, obviously, too much, because it's not a what a disrespectful thing. I just, you know, I've obviously across his name and aware when we chat, but to share with others the influence that he had on many, obviously, and to have it to the point where each year, it was about a couple of weeks ago again, I think. Yeah. So could you share a little bit there? It'll be good history
look,
for me as well.
Sensei Luke was he was a figure larger than life. He was like a fridge with arms and legs. Cool. He was a big boy, and you know, he mixed it with you know, the likes of you know, she and Tony Bowden in those days, and Punchy Gary Vickers. You know, they were in that sort of pool of fighters.
Right.
Sensei Luke was just raw, stand there and just bulldoze forward, and he wasn't twinkle toes, but he had a heart as big as a lion. And in the dojo, you know, he just said or gestured, and you knew exactly what he meant. You would do, and you know, his I suppose his magnetism was not only in the dojo, it was outside the dojo. You know, we used to train at his he had his own little training area at home. We would train there on a Friday night, and Luke would have his Croatian friends come around. They would be cooking a barbecue, and we would finish training, and then we would partake in the barbecue.
Nice.
And Sensei Luke it was just not negotiable. You trained and you had to stay and be part of that. And then if you were still standing at the end of that, then he would say, right, we're going into town, and we're going to the nightclub. So he would right royally put your head on backwards with a few beverages. And in the words of my wife, Jane, used to say, Luke was like the Pied Piper. He would just play the pipe, and all of us guys who were training and that would just say, yes, Luke, no, Luke, three bags full, Luke, and follow. But you know, he would give you the shirt off his back, and
Okay.
you know, as one of those guys, Sensei Pat, you know, the national tournament would come around, quite often at the Sydney Town Hall, and Sensei Luke would say, right, tournament's on. Wayne, you organise the airfares for everyone. Sensei Bobby, you organise the accommodation. So organise this, t-shirts, club t-shirts. Yeah, it was not, are you going?
Clockwork.
Would you like to go? No, it's you will. The expectation was you did go, and you were just all given jobs.
Right.
So yeah, he was fantastic. And look, we were just, you know, we were really saddened, and
Of course.
you know, when he passed away suddenly. But you know, and I think it's fantastic, particularly by the Cryo Dojo. She and Scotty McQuaid does a fantastic job of always rallying everybody as much as possible, and getting them there to honour Sensei Luke. And just as a side, his son or his grandsons are now training. They're only small. They're big, 10 or 11 or 12. They're training out with Sensei Dave First and Shin Kyokushin out at Lara.
Oh my God.
So apples don't fall far from the tree sometimes, do they?
Hey, I appreciate you sharing that. And again, respectfully to those listeners, there's a lot of people I'm across and familiar and fortunate to know, but Sensei Luke, I was never, I don't, again, I started in 2000. So again, hearing all these cool stories and things like that is another reason in having this chat. So I appreciate you sharing that, because again, I like to keep that saying, I keep saying that, flame alive, but it's very, very important. It's so important. You know, we're talking about Hunchy Eddie here, and again, you know, Hunchy Eddie's of this world that we respectfully know that, you know, he's in his early 90s. We have to, I kind of have a saying at the dojo, we have to make the most of it. We have to, you know, understand the implications and the repercussions that may come from, you know, when we lose great men and great ladies, and in regards to the arts and so forth that have influenced so many.
Yeah. Absolutely. And you know, it's, you know, when you run an event, when you go and just train, if you've got that spark of maybe why you're going into the dojo that day, and have that in mind, it might give you the lift, because not every day you walk into a dojo and you're feeling 100%. It might be you're feeling under the weather. You've got an injury. You're feeling a little bit, you know, oh, yeah, am I good enough for this or whatever? But if you take into the dojo a reason, and maybe one of the things that I still do, and I promote this for anybody going for Dan grades. I ask them on the inside of their doggy, on the inside lapel, is write something. Write something. It might be write a name of a person, write a saying, write anything you want on there, so nobody can see it. Nobody can see it when you tied it up, and you don't need to tell anybody. You don't need to. But when the times are tough in a tournament, or times are tough in a grading, you know, and you're thinking, bugger me, I wish I was somewhere else. Beam me up, Scotty. And I wish I was somewhere else. Maybe that's the time you just reach in and you grab the gi and open it up, and you might see. And I used to write Sensei Luke.
No way.
And I would say, or, you know, I'd write my mum.
Yep.
She was a fantastic, absolute magic supporter of me and my dojos when I was coming through. So I'd have, you know, those moments where you think, oh, you know, I want to go to the pub, but then I'd look down there and I'd open that up, and that got you going again.
Yeah.
Because you go, you know, I don't want to disappoint you, Luke, or I don't want to disappoint your mum, or I don't want to disappoint you, this person or that person, or it might be a saying that lifts you up. So
nice reminder.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it just becomes organic to many of us that just get in. We have that get in, get out. I have that get in, get out approach now. Like, get in, drop drop as much knowledge as I can, pass it on, and get going, and then get out. But then as I drive back from my Melbourne dojo, or drive somewhere, I'm there going, okay, well, reassess, debrief. You know how I do a debrief after the 50 rounds
Yep.
because you're so invested in the training. And now I like everyone to share with others what you just shared with us, that, hey, I'm working on this, didn't feel good, wasn't, the debriefs that we hear
Yep.
from everyone to understand that hasn't done the 50 rounds. At the end of the 50 rounds, I took it off the SAS where they go, okay, debrief, and more so honest, feedbacks like on yourself and what more, what's the word I'm looking for? What more encouragement and strength do you need than to openly tell your peers, how
Yep.
you're feeling, how to express yourself, or where you're at on your journey. And then,
Yeah.
and then I kind of jump in over the top, or a senior jumps in over the top and goes, hey man, you're a green belt. Keep going, man. Don't compare yourself to this guy. Hey, the black belt. Hey, the Shihan that's in his late 50s, early 60s and so on. It's still, like cracking on 50 rounds like yourself all the time. And it's like, holy motion, old Nick that we have who turned
Yeah.
68,
Yeah.
him hearing that from others than just me blows him away.
Yeah.
You getting the energy off us young bucks in a way, you've shared. It's like, hey, keep giving me that energy, that that spirit gets it going. And again,
Yeah.
your tip there with the doggy is a nice one. That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's all those little things that you pick up along the way, Sensei Pat. That
Yeah.
just to, the old chestnut, who motivates the motivators. So it's being at a dojo. As a student, sometimes you go, oh look, I can't be bothered.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to stay home. I can smell mum's cooking.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to take it easy. But as a dojo operator, you have to be there.
Yes.
You have to go there. And sometimes you might have a student who you feel is not really putting in or giving you a raft of excuses. You still have to be positive and uplifting and supportive, because you just don't know when that person may turn around or get it. So I suppose the life of a dojo operator is can be quite challenging. And how do you generate that motivation in yourself?
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
could be, some people are motivated by, just somebody coming on, giving them the pat on the back,
Yeah.
giving them a saying, hey, listen, latch onto this, or somebody else recognizing that they've done. Oh, by the way, I did see you do such and such way back here, or
Right.
your student just came to me the other day and said they felt really supported or whatever.
Mm.
And getting feedback. It's
Yeah.
somebody else massaging your ego than doing it yourself.
Yeah, I mean, listening to you now, this is the part again when I contacted you to say let's get on, and you humbly were like, "Hold on a sec, the listener's going to be up for a Wayne Murphy." Absolutely, mate, because I sincerely, again, people like yourself that we've known for such a long time, and um, I want students. I don't care about your belt. Students to all kind of grasp a little bit of Shihan Wayne's nuggets of gold, and again, his experience of running and all the above that you just don't get to hear. And then when I would chat to you at certain camps, again, we end up getting on a roll like this, and then you end up going, all right, shit. All right, for those out there, we get to room with each other the last couple of years, and we're chin wagging until the cows come home, and some are trying to have a sleep. But we're talking about the passion and the love of what's going on and where we could do X and Y. But again, this has been great for everyone to get a grasp of Shihan Wayne. That's the other part of me doing this for everyone out there. I'm fortunate I get to see Shihan Wayne or have a chat to him and work in certain ways with him. So I get to hear all this stuff, and I get to, him mentor me in certain ways as do all of my peers. But for others out there, they just, again, it's not bad. It's not disrespecting, they've got the one teacher or the one person that coaches. And I kind of grasped this from basketball. What happened with basketball, Shihan Wayne, was I had you have the one coach, and the coach that you adore and love, for my sake, was Brian Gorgon, the coach of the Olympics. And he was tough. he was brutal and he was tough. And I was a young buck, 18, 19. And what he said, I would just, hey, okay, that's how I've got to play. And then what happened after that was I stopped playing. I stopped playing basketball after a term there in my 2021, and I went straight to Kyokushin, and I found a bloke called Shihan Polly, right? And my meaning on that is afterwards, coaches, basketball coaches, were contacting me. Hey man, why aren't you playing? What's going on? You know, and talking all positive and giving me the positives of how, and I'm like, well, where were you guys? Like, not where were you guys? I didn't need it. I didn't need it, but maybe I did. Maybe I did. And
Yeah.
and this I feel gives others, my students more so, haven't seen or heard of people like yourself in regards to listening to the knowledge and the and things, and they go, I know they come up to me and go, you know that chat you had with Shihan Wayne on the, I didn't know that, and it goes from there. So appreciate that, Shihan. Shihan quickly just had to move, so we're all back on deck, which is cool. So Shihan, again, you know, in what we were just talking about, I want to just segue into our last 5 minutes here. It's been a lovely chat. I trust all listeners have got to know Shihan Wayne a little bit better now, and you know, he's someone more so that if you have any questions, queries about your, you know, your ways and what's going on, and no doubt he's experienced it or been through it, and he is on social medias like all other masters and Shians are, which is the really cool part, I guess, of where the world is taking you know, you Shians too as well. He's seeing a lot of the content and being able to communicate easily, you know, with these events that are happening and how dojos are going. And I was just telling my wife as well, Shian, that, you know, there's parts of me that kind of doesn't want to flood my social media with, you know, photos of the kids and teens because of what's happening in this world on social media. And I try to respect that part, but then we also have to promote our dojos and, you know, make sure that the Kyokushin flame continues to, you know, be present, you know, against all the other things that we're up against, the footballs, the crickets, the netballs, the soccers, the other martial arts styles that other kids, teens, and adults attend. And you know, we you for those out there, give Shihan Wayne a follow. Shihan, you know, last bit of summary here. It's been awesome having a chat. Ideally, there should be a lager in front of us, but you know, we digress. But is there anything else you'd like to, you know, add on? And again, it's not the be all end all. If there's other things that pop up with Forever the Student, I'll be getting you back on, and that's the key about it.
Look, thanks very much, Sensei Pat. And I really
Yeah,
appreciate this opportunity to have a chat. And
of course.
you know, you're very easy to talk to, and we have a bit of fun along the way. I've got my group, which is Geelong District Golden Plains Kyokushin.
Right.
We have a Facebook presence, so a lot
Mm-hmm.
of the activities that we do, not only the dojo within the dojo or the dojos that we run, but other things, whether it's the beach training on the 18th. A couple of weeks after that, Shan Lance is coming down to do a bow training
Okay.
at the same beach, at the
Yep.
same Torquay
Yep.
beach. That's on, I think it's about the 3rd of March,
Oh, geez. Righto.
on a Sunday. We've got, you know, there's lots of other things that
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
planning or being prepared to go to. As I
Right.
mentioned earlier, the Gold Coast have a camp, which is
Yes.
absolutely fantastic. Later in the year, they have the Budo Challenge
Yes.
tournament, which is just absolute top quality. It's fantastic. We follow
Good.
that. Shin Kyokushin have their snow training, which is
Yeah.
just an awesome weekend. You know,
Yeah.
if there's snow, we're there. We're training in it, and as well as another in dojo or in hall training session up there. So lots and lots of different things like that. Other activities. I'm always on the search for funding opportunities to run developmental programs. I ran one just last year. I think last year, the year before, which was Take the Lead, Empowering Women in Kyokushin.
Okay.
And we had about 8 participants
Okay.
in that, in empowering and women to run classes and
Right
to
on.
be a better
Yep.
them. And then we ran another bursting out of COVID in those darker times. Way back then, we ran a series of events where we had some guest instructors, Senpai Michelle from up your way. Sensei Kylie came down and presented a session, as well as some local fitness groups. So, it's not, we're always trying to value add to our training, and getting people to put nothing replaces being in the dojo and training hard and putting sweat on the floor. But anything else that we can put on top of that cake, we will.
Well, yeah, hopefully we continue our Bankura Inn with Senpai David, your student who owns the Bankura Inn, and what an honor and pleasure it was to be in that facility. Everyone around the world, you should have seen it. Everyone's like, where is this? What's going on? And again, another blessing in disguise for where I live and where I drive past it every morning. It's very eerie now, knowing that a lot of you legends were on that beach that I knew of, but I didn't know it was, again, run by Brian Ellison and all these legends. So something, again, has got me there, which is really cool. Hey, love this chat. Learn a lot, as always, when I chat with you, and really love your passion and driving your friendship. And again, thanks heaps for your time. And to all the listeners out there, Torquay Beach, again, I think it's best to get it on Shihan Wayne's page. I'll post it up as well, as I do. I send it to my students, but encouraging to all kids, teens, adults. Traditionally, the weather is beautiful and calm and so forth for everyone to enjoy. Something slip, slop, slap type setup. And but when you're in the white gi and seeing the community stop and see 100 Kyokushin karatekas on the beach, and I've even had a friend pass by last year and just yell out, "What? Hadn't seen me in 15 years." An ex-basketball mate. He's like, "What are you doing? What is going on down here?" But he was like, "We've just watched it for 15 minutes. It was unreal." So Shihan, lovely to talk to you, and to all the listeners out there, I trust you enjoyed it. There's no doubt you did, and get a bit of a history out of this area with Shihan Wayne. Shihan Wayne, a big wish to you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone. Appreciate it. And I've got a bit of a special guest nugget that I want to share with everyone before we go. He's an ex-basketball mate of mine. His name's Damon Lowry. Wait till you hear this guy's story. And again, it's bringing in the theme of Forever the Student in regards to the things that he does daily will blow your mind. I can't wait to share it with everyone. And it's in the vernacular of how we like to talk about how hard we train. Wait till you hear the stuff that Damon does. He's in his mid-50s, late 50s, and I'm talking things that it's in the conversation of what David Goggins does. So it's in that world, and David Goggins is one of the best ultra marathon runners ever. Looking forward to adding him into the Forever the Student and giving all of us in this community a little bit of a kick in the ass. Can't wait to share it with you all. Shihan, thanks heaps for your time.